All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our May 16th regularly scheduled Newmarket School Board meeting. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We'll head right into one of the best parts of our year, and that is me talking to the opportunity to honor the 2024 top 10 graduates. So, Andy, would you like to go through those for us?
Hi, good evening. I would echo that. It is our favorite time of year as well. I am absolutely thrilled and honored here to present some of our graduates. The one caveat tonight is Alana is going to mention here, prom is tomorrow, so we have a lot of folks setting up and preparing for that. But we have a few of our top 10 here, and I'll allow them to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about themselves. One can go.
Hi, I'm Alana Hagan. So I've only actually been at Newmarket since I was a sophomore, but
Broken all those records since you've been a sophomore.
The Newmarket community is very welcoming, and honestly I was a little scared to switch schools because it's a pretty scary thing to do, but yeah, I felt very welcomed, and I really liked how all the teachers were very accepting, and you really felt like you could go talk to them about anything at any time. So yeah, I think that was probably the best thing about coming to Newmarket. Next year I'm going to Northeastern University, studying criminology and running track and fields. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Matilda Sala. I've been attending the Newmarket School District since 5th grade. I've always found that all my teachers were always available and eager to help all of us on our academic journey. Next year I will be attending UNH as a biochemistry major. I'll be attending their Hamel Honors program, and especially looking forward to their honors pathways and student-led research.
Congratulations.
Congratulations on being valedictorian as well.
Yes.
Hi everyone, my name is Somyan Dilip. My favorite memories about Newmarket is about how welcoming and amazing every person was here, and how everyone's just been so great and been helping everyone. I will be attending the University of Central Florida next year and be studying aerospace engineering. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Hi, I'm Carl. I've been here since 2nd grade. The community is very welcoming. I like how close we are, because everyone knows everyone. And next year I'll be attending UNH as a biomed engineering major.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Hi, my name's Allison Burke. I've loved the supportive community here at Newmarket and getting to build relationships with your teachers and have support from the administrative staff, counseling staff, and the teachers throughout my time here. And then next year I'm going to Fordham University to study psychology. So.
Nice. Congratulations.
Hi, my name's Olivia. I don't know. I've been in this school basically my entire life, and it's a really close-knit community, a really nice community, and it's allowed me to find myself in ways that I didn't think I would be able to. So next year I'm going to be going to the University of Colorado Boulder to study geology.
Wow, congratulations. Nice.
My name is Sabani. I've been going to Newmarket since I was in preschool. One of the things I really like about Newmarket is how small it is. I feel like it really allows you time with teachers. And I'm going to University of Connecticut next year for biomedical engineering.
Nice. Congratulations.
So along with Sean, these are just some of our members of our class of 2024. We'll be taking our top 10 to lunch in 2 weeks. Amy, you going to join us?
I am.
Excellent. We're going to the Rosa in Portsmouth for a really nice afternoon to honor our top 10. So thank you guys very much. I really appreciate it. And have a great night.
Actually, thank you all for coming in. If you guys don't mind waiting 1 second, I know you all probably want to leave, but since you're here, it's a good time for me to embarrass Sean. So. And we all know that Sean deserves it. Sean, thank you so much for being on the board.
Thank you.
And congratulations. Really.
Yeah, congratulations, Sean.
Should I open this now? Or
Sure,
The viewers at home
Is it
are
like
dying
new,
to see what's
like
inside.
It's a mime.
Yeah.
Sure, mime in there.
new MacBook maybe?
There's a new mime. There's a mime in there to help you with the name.
It's a wireless keyboard. It's a wireless keyboard.
yeah.
to go with your
Nice.
Oh yeah. Thank you guys.
Welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh, there's a card.
Yeah, you can open
Oh,
it
there's a
later.
I'll open the card.
Thank you all very much.
Graduation. Thank you. Oh, I'm not reading all that. Okay. Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, before we head into our reports and board comments, I do need to circle back for 1 second. Lonnie Stebbins is excused tonight, and Superintendent Allen had another engagement, so we're fortunate enough to have Patty here sitting in for him. So thank you, Patty.
Happy to be here.
You probably should.
It is, okay.
Head right into board comments and committee updates. I do have one committee update. Teacher talent evaluation. I'm gonna say it wrong.
Teacher professional
Yeah,
growth
professional growth
and evaluation
committee
committee.
met. Lonnie and I met with them. We had a great introduction. They've been doing a lot of hard work for the past year and some.
Yeah.
And just made us feel very welcome, and immediately gave us some homework
Yes.
that we've been doing. But we appreciate it and look forward to future meetings. Anyone else have any committee updates, comments?
Master plan we met, and there's a survey that's being built to support the master plan. One of the chapters of the master plan is recreation, and there were some questions in there that I immediately we have concepts around fields, potential tracks, things that we've had conversations about that absolutely should be part of that dialogue, as opposed to setting up another survey integrating with that. So I know that Superintendent Allen met with Town Planner Bart, and Todd and I are going to have a conversation about what language we might be able to work with.
Oh, that's excellent.
Nice.
Anyone else?
The Health Benefits Committee met today. We only have 1, possibly 2 meetings, and then we'll make our recommendations to the board. And that's it. A lot of work, though, in those 2 potential meetings, so we're almost done.
Great. All right, we'll move right into student rep report, so Sean can get out news of baseball.
Okay, thank you guys. So I'll start off with the baseball team. So we just beat Farmington yesterday, and we now move to a record of 13-1. We are technically first place in Division 4 right now, and our next game is on Monday against Epping. The softball team had a doubleheader against Pittsfield the other day. They played them twice, defeating them 4-1 in the first game, and then 6-1 in the second game. And they will play, and they're playing Franklin later tonight at 7 o'clock. They were supposed to have a game against Farmington, but it got fully rained out. I don't know why the baseball one didn't. I think maybe it started sooner, or I don't really know, because it's a different field and it's more muddy, so maybe that's why. Not much for the track team, except that they'll be competing in states next Thursday. Net Zero is finishing up their granite bench project. They just needed to receive the gravel to be able to fill it in. They are also holding a roadside cleanup on May 30th, and they are posting a newsletter to highlight all of their initiatives this year. Interact Club held Newmarket Cares Day. That was a great success. I helped out at the rec center. That was a lot of fun. The National Honor Society accepted their new members for the 2024-2025 school year, and the induction ceremony will be next Tuesday. SALT is holding Rivalry Week this week. the theme days, I'll just go. Monday was athlete versus mathlete. Tuesday was Jersey Day. Wednesday was dress as the teachers and teachers dress as students. Today was Groutfit Day, and that's a gray outfit, so you just only wear gray. And then tomorrow is country versus country club. And then Monday next week, because the games are technically on Monday, is just school colors. And then on that Monday, they're going to give points to the school which has more students show up to the baseball and softball games. And the baseball game, because last year it was at Newmarket, need to be at Epping this year. And the softball game's here. So at the baseball game, they're going to have Kona ice truck, and also going to be playing yard games in an adjacent field, I believe, for anybody who wants to play those. Student council and student governments are having elections shortly. Obviously, I will not be here anymore because someone will be getting my position. I think it's only one person running, so it'll be pretty easy. Yesterday was the Pride picnic for those in the LGBTQ community. If they want to attend, the Improv Club is going to have their last show of the year on May 31st. And finally, the senior class will be having their prom tomorrow, which will be held at the Rockingham Country Club in Newmarket. And shortly, they'll be having their senior week, in which we're planning on having a breakfast with our elementary school teachers, as well as a trip to Newcastle Commons and a senior banquet, and then obviously graduation on June 7th. So that's all I have. All right, thank you guys.
You're welcome.
Congrats again, Sean.
Thank you guys. Thank you for the Carney sweatshirt.
Welcome.
Thank you for being on the board.
Yeah. You represented the students very well.
And we'll head right into the superintendent
Sure.
report.
So I'm really thrilled that I'm here to recognize Newmarket's English teacher, Amy Beth Taylor, who's here. I'm just going to give a little context of why Amy Beth is here, and we're recognizing her and congratulating her. Amy Beth is a published author, and I'm here to share with you the chapters of the books that Amy authored. And how it came to be is, I believe I've shared with you that I serve on a state leadership team called, it's a very long name, New Hampshire Educator Effectiveness for Student Success. And we are a collective group of local educators, both from school district level to college level to the New Hampshire Department of Education. And our mission is to prepare all educators, teachers, building level leadership with foundational and specialized expertise to meet the needs of our students. We focus on leadership development through technical assistance, and we recognize the current needs, and we also support greater partnership structures for pre-K-12 communities. And supporting the mechanisms for teachers and leaders that lead to great student success. The New Hampshire we are one of 22 states. Oh, sorry, Chair. Oh, I'm so sorry. We are one of 22 states supported by the National CEDAR Center from the University of Florida. And CEDAR is Collaboration for Effective Educator Development, Accountability, and Reform. And through this connection, Tim Dove, he is one of the facilitators, and Tim lives in Ohio, works for CEDAR. And Tim's been writing these 2 books, which one is titled 12th Grade Ready, and they're actually books for parents. And this is 10th grade ready. So Tim put it out and asked me, hey, any English teachers you think would want to maybe write a chapter in this book from their experience as English teachers for 10th or 12th grade? So I reached out to Amy Beth, who is our curriculum coordinator for the English Language Arts Department for the middle and high school. And Amy Beth then took it upon herself. So I'm going to have her come and stand up and tell us a little bit about her charge. And we have the final products as well. That's great. Yeah, so parents will really want to read this.
Well, a little bit more context. Tim actually wrote 7th and 8th grade ready first. And then the publisher asked him if he could, because it did pretty well, asked if he could continue on with the high school year. So he said sure, but then he realized he had no experience teaching high school. And so that's what led him to seeking out, resources and connections through other educators and education leaders. So when I first spoke with him, well, I thought about it at first and wondered if I had the time to
do that.
focus on that. But and then I had a conversation with him, and he was very convincing and very enthusiastic about the project. And so I took on a couple of the chapters that were still remaining. And I actually, the group of students that just left, I had some conversations with them too when I was putting together the content for my chapters. And I also have 3 teenagers. Well, one is no longer a teenager. He's a 20-year-old college student. And then I have 2 high schoolers. So I had conversations with them as well. So it's really geared towards how can you help, your student at that particular stage feel successful and kind of, tackle some of the hurdles that they naturally face at that stage in their development. So I wrote a chapter for the 10th grade book, which was how do I know if my student is ready for 11th grade? And then the 12th grade chapter that I wrote was developing, well, initially it was called Challenging Student-Teacher Relationships, and I didn't like that. And I felt like that was putting a really negative spin on it. So instead I took the approach of how do you foster really, healthy, vibrant relationships between students and teachers at that stage when students are really looking for those connections to be able to, seek out the help and the guidance, but recommendations and, help with all the college stuff that they face. So those were the 2 chapters that I ended up writing. And yeah, it's not a whole novel, but
still,
but it's a step. Yeah,
and it's really. I read your chapters, and I read it from the lens of a parent of 3 kids now, out of high school and college, and one graduating next week. And it's just spot on in terms of all the stages and the emotions that students go through, from freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, and all of the emotions that are different, really. I think you could say too, as a parent and teacher at each of those grade levels. So I read it from that lens and just said, oh, every parent needs to read these. So I think what I'd love to do is buy some copies and put them in our library, and either kids can check them out or parents, but
I have a box of them.
You do have a box? They gave you a box?
They arrived at my house 2 weeks ago, and I was like, what is this? I didn't order anything from Amazon. And then I opened it up, I was like, oh my God,
my books are here.
Yeah. So I do have, I have several copies if anybody wants one.
Yeah,
but the only, the caveat was it had to be conversational. Like, another parent was having a conversation with you and wanted some really practical, honest advice and guidance so that it wasn't reading like, this is what you have to do. And I'm an expert.
Yeah, exactly.
And I would never claim to be the expert, just this is what I see from my perspective as an educator working with this age group, and also from the parenting standpoint, what I've had to encounter as well and separate myself from, a little bit from the situation as a parent kind of in the thick of it. But,
well, so I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming in and spending some time with us.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Yeah, and it was a nice opportunity. So, and now I'm off to pick up to go meet my 14-year-old. He's umping a baseball game.
Okay. Thank you, Amy.
I'm off to Newfield, so yeah.
Right. Thanks so much. Congratulations. Okay. So anyway, I'll leave these books here if anyone wants to borrow or read some chapters. Okay, so next on the report is some other exciting news for Newmarket. We have a student in the news, and I want to pronounce this young man's name correctly, Orion Rasic. He is the winner of the state culinary competition, and he is going to be on New Hampshire Chronicle tomorrow night, May 17th. So look for his story on New Hampshire Chronicles. That's really exciting. So congratulations to Orion. And then next, I need to share that the NTA submitted a request to collectively bargain. They would like to start negotiations in August. And so what that means for the board is that you'll need to respond to their request and offer a date for an organizational meeting. And at the organizational meeting, the first 3 negotiation sessions will be scheduled, and then rules for negotiations will be set. So what first happens is the board will want to have a preliminary non-meeting to discuss the negotiation process and give guidance to Amy and Lonnie, who will be the board representatives. Todd recommends that we schedule a non-meeting for this purpose at some point, and we could do this before or after a regular meeting or schedule a separate date solely for this purpose. Okay. And then the last that I want to share is that the NTA has also agreed to an MOA to modify how we pay out sick day buyback payments. So the contract requires sick day buyback payments to be paid in a separate check after July 1st. But there have been changes in the IRS regulations, so this method of payment is not appropriate anymore. So because the language is so specific in the contract, we need to agree to a change in order to follow the IRS rules. So the short of it is that the change works better for everyone. So in order to make this change take place this year, I asked the board to approve and sign the agreement. And this is the agreement. And I have a copy for everyone to read, but we just need a signature on one.
So basically, the IRS rules have changed, and because of that, it's more advantageous for the teachers to receive it earlier. There won't be as much tax impact for them. And it's also more advantageous for the staff because they don't do a whole other check cutting after the end of the year. So.
Right. So here's the,
Yep.
so you just do that later, you do the signing later. Okay.
Yep. So we will add those to the discussion items if the board allows it
Okay.
in a minute. Is there anything else?
And that was it. Oh, wait, I had one more thing, sorry. I am just literally coming back today from attending. I just wanted to share with you that state leadership team that I'm on. So CEDAR has their national convening, and last year I was in San Francisco, which is really where I learned so much about teacher induction through mentoring, and then I wrote our mentoring program as a result of that. So the past 2 days I've been in Baltimore. So it was, again, the CEDAR yearly convening. And it was just so exciting to represent New Hampshire with 16 educators from all of our public universities were there. Department of Education, myself, and the other school district is John Fabrizio from Concord. And it was just a very exciting event. And I'm just really particularly excited because the high leverage practices, which are really the basis of our mentor program, there's been a lot of talk around the country of the 22 states that attend this convening to look at those high leverage practice and how we develop professional growth plans and teacher evaluations. So I thought that was just very exciting to hear, and some states that I'm going to continue to follow up with is Utah and Georgia, in North Carolina, and they're also developing continuums as well for these high leverage practices. And the reason behind that is that these high leverage practices are grounded in evidence and research, and these are the best instructional practices for our students in the classroom. So it's really exciting to see, having the mentor program written and then like, oh my gosh. So anyway, I'm hopeful to have more information to share with the committee when we meet in June of just what's going on around the country. So it's exciting. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So we'll head right into presentations. We have a master scheduling staffing plan by Principal Corman. Doesn't want to do anything more than stay at the school after hours.
Thank you. As part of your forward thinking for your budget goal for next year, I was asked to put together a quick staffing outlook of where we are at. The big caveat right now is this is where we are at on May 16th. Things move and change, especially at the high school level, very quickly. The example I would give is one of the first challenges I faced here is on day 2 of school last year, I had a Spanish 5 class disappear before my eyes. Started off with 7 kids. 2 of the 7 were in a relationship. Over the summer, the relationship ended. All 7 decided to drop the class, so Spanish 5 disappeared from the books, just like that. That's not uncommon, that idea of movement. It's just particularly challenging here because we are super small. So these numbers represent, as of Tuesday afternoon, what we're looking at and what we're running. I did not get creative. I went back to our October board presentation. This is the format. It's exactly the same. I just updated the numbers. So the first slide there is your projected enrollment. Middle school, we pick up 3 bodies, and at the high school, we pick up 2, so the district's all in at that 10:04. And that was very clear. Todd was exceptionally clear. He said, make sure your numbers match my numbers, and they do. Those numbers all add up. Next up is the middle school. Again, this is the easiest part of the gig. This is a plug-and-play model. We have a 6th grade team, a 7th grade team, and an 8th grade team. The numbers are pretty standard in terms of enrollment. Class sizes are all manageable. Remember, we changed the model this year, so every kid is getting every content area every day. The net positive on that is about 43 additional days of academic learning just by making a schedule change. We're going to continue that next year. But talking to middle school folks, they are perfectly happy with class sizes and structure and schedule. There are things we're going to tweak, but the general format and the general feeling from our middle school people is this model works well, and they're happy with it. Yep, go ahead. Yep.
As I follow the diagonals down, it
Yep.
looks like the rising freshman class is picking up 1 student, rising junior class is picking up 2. So are these actually based on individuals that have communicated to the district?
Yep. So the current enrollment that, sorry, I have a color copy. The gray column there, 23-24, is that October 1st reported number. The projected 24-25 are bodies I have in this building right now, just rolling them forward.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
picked up some along.
Yeah, we picked it. Yes. Yeah, and I would cautiously and optimistically say we will continue to pick up some. Talking to Manya in our counseling office, these things tend to come in waves pretty dramatically. We'll get 3 or 4 calls within a day or 2, usually around either the end of a trimester if they're coming from the Winnicott area, or the end of a quarter. So that's April, mid-January, and November. We'll get an uptick, which is a natural transition for a high school kid and even a middle school kid. But I think we ended up net quite a few students this year, which was nice to feel.
Do you have a feel for the student size in the elementary grades? Average student size, average class size?
I do not. I only have my building. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Sorry.
And it's 20 seems high to me in the middle school. 19, 20.
That 6th grade bump, or excuse me, the 7th grade bump. Yeah. So it is, but if the general board recommendation after K2 is that 17 to 22. We're within numbers there. There is a uniqueness, as we know about middle schoolers. It's a lot of energy. You want to swing by any day between 5 of noon and 12:25. This space is vibrating with middle school lunch as we're in here. But our teams at the middle school do a really good job making sure that energy doesn't carry over to the classroom.
Thank you.
Here is where you guys usually like to grill me. High school numbers. Okay. So next year, again, the big caveat is this is accurate as of right now. 98 unique courses. That's a net change of -2 from what we're currently offering this year, just so you know. Same 7 AP courses listed out there, and the last one is the 2nd year of that hospitality management out of Great Bay. Kim Emery does a fantastic job partnering with them to get kids that dual enrollment credit out of Great Bay that becomes transferable within the state system. 79 students going to SST is honestly our biggest barrier. That is a quarter of my high school population every day leaving this building. I have no control over the SST schedule. They are pretty, and I don't mean it in a bad way. It's just that we are given the slots we are given. So I know every day at 2 minutes after 7, I got about 40 kids outside getting on a bus to go to the morning session, which is that 7:30 to 9 spot. And those 40 kids have come back here at 9:30-ish, depending on traffic and how fast the bus goes. And then I lose another 35, 40 at 11:30 for the afternoon session, that afternoon 12 to 2 session. This produces a lot of conflict and a lot of background work, because essentially the only time period I have every student in this building is 9:30 to 11, because 11 to 11:30, all those kids that leave in the afternoon have to have lunch here. So it's essentially one block a day where I have to build out what those kids in the morning are coming back to and what they need, and more importantly, what the kids who are about to leave, what they need in the morning. So that second period of the day becomes really, really critical in terms of educational offerings and tailoring the offerings to meet the need driven by a quarter of my population going to SST every day.
I remember from the SST governing that they typically see 10 to 15% shrink from what signs up versus once the schedules all shake out.
Yep.
Are we comparable? Or?
Yeah, so I go to SST probably once every 5 weeks. We have essentially like a principals meeting with their folks. That was the conversation. That number represents already about an 8% shrink from the application. I would not expect that number to dip below 75. Our kids are generally committed to the program. They do a really good job on the PR front, getting our kids interested. We do a ton of work over there, but that's again 75 to 79 is where we're going to end up.
So we have no control over this.
Over the time slots that they offer us, yes.
What about influence over the time slot that they offer? That's right, like Davis, right?
Yeah.
One of 6 schools. You have principal meetings. I know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to try.
So,
pain in it, right? Like,
oh yeah.
sort of like influence.
Yeah. And to be really clear, like Pam Carr and Adam Rosmack over there are phenomenal from an administrative side to work with. They're great people. My intuition tells me this is a large political chess game. SST offers 3 slots that they call the morning slot. That's 7:30 to 9. They do what they call their mid, which is like a 10 to 12, and then the 10 to 11:30, and then they do the last one there on 12 to 1, or no, 2 to the 1:30 to 2.
So no matter what happens, it's going to be one.
Yeah,
block.
and I
Really the key
believe
block.
their friends at Exeter High School take a priority just because they send, as a proportion, to be honest, if you look at it proportionality-wise, we send the same percentage
Right.
as Exeter. Their numbers are just, they'll send 280 kids. And so they get to kind of throw their weight around a little bit.
It impacts them less because of geography.
Correct.
Right.
6-minute
Because of
ride.
the number of kids, they probably are able to have more classes that they can shift people around to.
I'm always
I'm
open
not
to.
suggesting you're not providing it.
No.
I just feel like where can we help, right? Like
Yeah.
where can we from the board, right? Who's our representative now? How might we be able to influence, like, hey, this is something that like we're feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
We're feeling it, but are there options that would be better for you, I guess?
Everyone's going to produce a unique problem, right? So right now I'm in love with with high school B block, that 9:30 to 11. We switched out and we went mid-afternoon. So that mid-session would be our predominantly juniors, and then our afternoon session is predominantly seniors. I can tell you the first thing that's going to be a problem is we're going to have to pay for another bus, because we double dip on the bus. The bus that picks up at 7 and drops off at 9 is conveniently the same bus. But if we need a physical new vehicle and a new driver, because we're using the same bus, which is right off the get-go. My B block sweet spot would then shift to A block, right? The issue dances kind of all over the place, and I believe that that afternoon session, their afternoon piece is where they do their 2s, so that's kind of that's their program design that they do which I get. You do your new kids in the morning and you do your advanced stuff in the afternoon. So I don't think there's much, I believe for the perpetuity, 35 kids are going to leave this building every day at 11:35 to access SST's second level programming. But I appreciate the support and the thought.
And even the morning or afternoon block would cause another bus, so either way.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We get creative with our afternoon. They're predominantly seniors. If everybody signs off, they drive. I will tell you though, there are still, honestly, as gas prices fluctuate, the crew outside at 11:40 shrinks or grows. And it's really interesting. Like, wow, there's
lot of
35
kids
kids
out
out
there.
there.
Gas prices are
Gas
going
must
up
be
this
over
week.
350 a gallon.
Yeah.
Yeah, how many students are sitting at somebody at 7 o'clock?
It's really impressive. I'm like, all right, there we go. And then the last slide is the breakdown by traditional academic area. So you have your staff number there, and that blue column, your section average, and then something you guys were really interested last time is the high-low. And that just represents where we are at in terms of large and small course sizes.
Looks better than what I recall from last year with the exception of art.
Thank you. I will take, it is better. Is it great? Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Are we progressing in the right direction? Yes. As part of the last budget cycle, we promised you an FTE reduction. These statistics represent a FTE reduction. We also, due to course enrollment and student request, shuffled around some of our performing arts and have another half FTE in there that we were not necessarily anticipating in October of last year.
Better.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Carefully chosen term.
Yes, perfection.
Yeah.
Is there, though, like, in your mind, an ideal high-low threshold?
So the state dictates on our science labs 24.
Ideal.
I can't go over 24 in science. That's the law. There are unique spaces in this building. I think of Annette Blake's art room is oddly situated in design and size compared to a more traditional classroom of a square. Hers is more of a rectangle with kind of an offshoot of a dark room on it. So that produces problems. We run into issues with availability of equipment, availability of resources. I only have so many ukuleles. I can only put so many kids in a guitar lab or a keyboarding lab. That type of stuff really throws numbers. Personally, and on the flip side, I've yet to meet a PE teacher that doesn't want a bigger class, not a smaller class. Amy Beth Taylor will all over me for larger courses at that higher level junior, senior English, because you get better discussion and better conversation where she can turn the course over to students and go, hey, what do you guys think about this? What's the author saying here? Where are we going with this? I think we could really start to push these numbers up. Just to be honest, the struggle here is the harsh reality of a quarter of my students every day are leaving the building. And when they leave, and because of the nature of SST, they're getting a lot of credits met through their particular programming. So kids go to the welding program, right? They're gonna pick up a math credit by the nature of the work. That's appropriate. What that means is that kid doesn't need a Newmarket math class because they're getting their math class at SST. When you multiply that by multiple types of credit you can get, our bioscience, our marketing kit, they're picking up different types of credit. There's a whole chart of, if you take this program, here are the high school credits you could get. Essentially, it becomes a balance and match on my side. When I know a kid needs 28 credits and they gotta be in these spots, well, if they spend half of their junior and senior year elsewhere and they're getting more than those credits met, that means they're not taking Newmarket courses, which impacts these numbers, which I know is a frustration point for us on a regular basis. It is a unique balancing act here that is unique to Newmarket because of our size and because, honestly, the percent of students that leave here every day to go to SST. You guys aren't throwing stuff at me. That's good.
Going up, right? I mean, I'm thinking SST projections. I'm sure it's going up. They've gone up every year.
Yeah. I would. Pam very politely last Friday said you may want to give your boss a heads up that we'll be having some conversation around potential tuition increases. Said I will gladly pass that along.
Great. Yeah.
So those are our high school numbers where we're at right now. I appreciate, and I truly do appreciate recognizing that we are moving in the right direction. I probably should have put another column on there of where they were. It is, to your point, Phil, we are not perfect in any way, shape, or form. We could add, be much more comfortable in that mid to high teen range. It's just, I don't have the kids.
Yeah.
And that's I can keep shuffling, and that's what we're doing to be as efficient as possible. And we're getting better. Are we perfect? Absolutely not. But we're making strides. But until 25% is 25% that leave this building. That's just tough.
So hypothetically, and I'm not suggesting we do this or don't do this, if we lost 10 courses,
Yep.
does that help you or hurt you?
It depends on what the course is. This is the uniqueness. The joy of middle school is it just plug and play. You take 6th grade math, they just cohort on. I have 283 high school kids with 283 unique schedules. Picking and choosing where to cut is what we do as part of the master build process, right? We offer 15 different electives and 15 different English electives. That's ridiculous. So we offer 12 different English electives, knowing full well we are going to run the 8 most popular, included into what your core 9, 10, 11, 12 English. So essentially we end up in this spot where unless you and all your friends pick comparative world religions, we're not going to run it. Instead, we're going to ask you, your second choice was journalism. So we're going to put you in journalism instead. And those are the questions, those are the decisions we make when we do a build.
So how many courses do we usually run? We offer 98.
That's poorly worded. That's how many we're running.
Okay.
When we do the program of studies, it's, what's in that? There's probably about 140, 150.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew, can I ask you do you keep any data on the students that attend SST that, I know like with my son, when he went there just for 1 year, but
Yep.
he couldn't continue it because of his needs.
Needs here.
And I'm just curious, do you keep data on that? Like if they drop out of the course and how many?
Yeah. So talking with our counseling department, historically, SST has had a pretty aggressive cut rate from year 1 to year 2 in some of their programs. And then coupled with, you nailed it, we have kids that have some needs that you run out of time during the day. Like I know you would love to continue in whatever, but I need you to take this here. To be honest, it's all anecdotal. I could get hard numbers on that, but I know this year just speaking with SST, we're sending the 40-ish in the morning, and I know next year I'm sending 35-ish. So they have admittedly reduced their, what I guess historically has been an aggressive cut rate. I think everybody's looking at the same economic problem and going, we need bodies. The shop costs what the shop costs, whether I have 1 person in there or 50, so I got to get as many bodies in there as I can. And I think that's the struggle for them.
I just feel like we're trying to improve our curriculum, but we're trying to fill their spaces.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to money, but what are we really doing for our kids?
Yeah.
You know, like I know those programs are great, and they're great for some kids,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it feels like it's,
Can we keep, the question I asked, how do I keep my kids here?
right.
Right.
Like I'd rather see our kids here and
So-
offer them.
Limiting options for 75% of the kids.
Yeah.
25% are going.
Yeah, and which
Right.
is a button for me around like an equity issue, and that drives me nuts.
Which I think we've talked about before. Legally, we have to offer it to everyone. You
Yeah.
can't just say 25 kids get to go this
I
year.
totally agree.
So it's either we have it or we don't. Yeah.
How do we
entice
entice them?
people?
So I can tell you one of the things we did this year, because one of the pieces of feedback I heard a lot last year from kids was, I didn't know we had that. I didn't know we had that. So really working with Jody and Chris to get them to have individual conversations. And we took over the event entrance hallway from door to the end of the ramp here, and did a course fair. Everybody in every department came down and we ran every kid 8 through 11 through that. So not only did you get what the heck is accounting or personal finance, you got it from the person teaching it, so they could
That's really
explain
clever.
to you what it actually is. Because we rewrote some course descriptions, but perhaps not atypical, as some of you know.
Unless you put them on Twitter.
I know, I
Who's
said
gonna
we put
read
them on
them?
TikTok,
Or
Twitter, we
TikTok,
gotta get them
whatever
up
it is
there.
now.
Yeah, just.
Oh, X.
So we, and it was actually, I was pleasantly surprised, I was a little nervous, but kids, that moment where the kid gets to interact with the educator and be like, what the heck is this course? I read your description, I don't really know, my friend took it, they said it was okay, what is this? And to watch that 45-second, the kid go, oh, okay, sure. And then I think because of that, and when we did our initial scheduled build, because kids had a better idea of what they wanted and made requests of courses that they were interested in, the build was on our, this is just me patting myself on the back, our friend and Jody Callahan, our first run we hit 70% completion, which means 70% of our kids had their schedule filled because they requested courses we were offering and what we needed, and everything lined up. The last 30% have been driving me nuts, but things like, how do we get kids to stay here? How do we get kids more interested is always on our mind, because there's the economic reality, there's the, to use Todd's favorite phrase around this stuff, there's the butts and seats reality. How do I keep these kids here to keep our courses running, and how do I entice a health science kid to stay here and take anatomy? No, but can I convince you anatomy and anatomy 2 is a better option? And how do I do that? And where do I go? I know SST is going to put bells and whistles and pipette challenges and show you all the great stuff they do. How do I compete with that? I got to lean on Jamie and Jody and go, how do we ELO a kid in anatomy to give them Exeter or Portsmouth Hospital thing while we're keeping them here? And like that's the individualization that we need to start working on to keep, I'm just picking on health science, but keep that kid here.
And that, I mean, as I've agonized over this over the past year going to SST meetings, that's sort of the thought that I kept coming back to is the way to try to do this is not to try to be all things to all kids. It's to figure out the specific areas where we can offer something. We're not going to compete with SST on auto mechanics.
No, this is in welding, obviously.
The equipment,
They have the
investment.
well, not just the equipment, they have the people.
It's,
We
well,
can't even hire an industrial arts teacher. There's no way we're gonna.
Yeah.
So what are the lanes that we want to try to be better?
Well, the other thing is, I think SST wants to expand. They don't have room to expand.
No.
I don't think we have a ton of extra room, but it's
We have
certainly
a lot of
something,
room
you know,
there.
when you start thinking about other offerings that we could.
So regionally, unofficially, way off the radar, we've had conversations, I would say like hallway conversations with regional principals on things more around like, I have 3 kids that want AP Psych and I can't, they hate VOX, I can't get them, I don't want to run a course. When do you offer it? Can we start to form some little quid pro quo situation where I send you my psych kids, you send me your chem kid, like, so that, again, not a unique Newmarket problem, this is a regional dropping population problem, and those are the types of things that come up in part of like the principal conversations of like, hey, can we start to do this? Once we get to a point where we feel firmer, I'm sure we'd come back and be like, hey, boards, multiple districts, here's what we're thinking, and honestly, it's for the betterment of kids, betterment of programming, but that pinch of how do I keep kids in my building while simultaneously not breaking the law with SST is a major region. Again, Pam is a wonderful woman, but everybody leaves that meeting with the same look on their face of, oh my God, what are we gonna do? You're taking 70 of my kids, that's a quarter of my high school population. Sanborn's in the same boat, they're like, what do we do?
We ever talk to the kids? I've been like, why?
Yes.
What do you do?
Oddly enough, yes, like, right? The scariest thing in education, ask the kid, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
I got so very informal, very like hanging out, waiting for them to come in, and just grabbed 10 kids in the morning, 5 kids in the afternoon. So 15 kids, almost unanimously, one of the first, if not the first answer was, I want to meet new people, which blew me away.
Yeah.
I was competing against the wrong thing. How do I build a... And I was like, it completely shifted my mind around, okay, and they're like, no, I love Newmarket, I love the smallness, I love my friends, but this is an opportunity to do something I like, which you can't offer. And I said, no, to your point, I can't run an auto shop. But it also allowed me to meet new people. And that, I'm gonna be honest, I would have been so far down the list of reasons why kids go, but asking the kids, again, very informally about 2 months ago, randomly just talking to kids, yeah, I met so-and-so, they're from here, and they knew so, and I was like, wait, so your primary reason was to go meet people? Like, yeah, I really like the health science, and it'll help, I think it'll help me in my next step in whatever I'm gonna do. But the added bonus and the push for me was 15 new friends. And I was like, then I shifted to how do I get more people in this building? How do I regionalize? How do I get more people? And that was.
I think your head's in the right place in that I don't know that this is something we can easily accomplish working within the peer group of SST, just strictly because of geography.
Yeah.
We're on the very northern edge of their territory. I mean, Seabrook would have the same problem. It's much more efficient to go central, which, aside from just the fact that Exeter's the biggest district, is probably why it's there.
Yeah. But there's like, it creates even more, I think, importance to the tactic you were thinking about, the strategy around, like, how do you and other schools, how do we, because like, we're not going to get the full 25% back here, nor should we want to, right? We can't offer auto mechanics, they can, let's do it, right? Like but if there's a 10 to 15% swing, that changes your world.
That's 15 more kids. That's two to three sections across the building more. You add three, you add +3 in math, science, English, and history on those course size numbers, and you're kind of in that sweet spot where I'd want to be.
I know you're not asking, but me, being on the board, I would certainly be interested in hearing more about opportunities with other schools if they were interested.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little late in the game. We're all a little underwater, but I know there was major conversation around, I believe Epping was looking at a EMT program or a forestry program because they had a cohort of kids that were on board. They were like, we want to be forest fighters, and we want to be EMTs, and I want to walk out of here at 18 and walk into the New Hampshire Fire Academy, and 18 months later be a lieutenant in Exeter, like whatever. They're like, okay. Like they stormed into Chris's office and like, this is what we want to do. But that idea of regional something, whether, again, it appeared as an AP problem, to be honest, of like, how the heck do we offer this? But the concept, the proof of concept is there, I think, for so much more. And to get creative around when I offer something, because it matches up with Sanborn and Epping and Exeter, so they can get their kids here and we can offer it. And having an understanding on that, I think, to be honest, I think as a region, that's where people have to go. It's the NASDAQ numbers say we are shrinking. We got to come up with creative solutions. So.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want to keep you too much longer. Is there any other questions or anything anyone has?
Thank you.
Cool.
No,
Thank you so
welcome.
much.
Thanks, Andy.
And great job on getting those things worked around. You deserve your pat on the back. I can't even imagine what you tried to do.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be ready to discussion items. The board will determine that I'd like to add 2 items. One is a discussion of NTA non-meeting to talk about scheduling a meeting for initial discussions for the upcoming negotiations this summer. And the other is an item for MOA with the NTA regarding the new IRS rules. That one we could probably just go right to a vote because I don't think there's anything more to discuss per se. But all right, so if everyone's all right, we'll just add that as an action item.
That's fine.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So with that, we'll head into correspondence. Has anyone received any correspondence? Sure.
I did. Someone reached out to me and asked, how might they consider, the school consider bringing the 8th grade DC trip back?
I think that's
I said that I would bring it up to the board because I recognize that would come to us for a vote, and just so that you're aware. We're aware.
So 60% of my middle school next year is going to be new faces in new places. We did a massive staff with retirements and other changes. We moved some people around. As part of that is going to be a nice cultural reset. One of my passion projects, eye in the sky, is to come to you and ask for a large sum of money for a 6th grade community building experience, a 7th grade community building experience, and 8th grade community building experience. Yeah, just go ahead and pencil that in right now, no problem. But something as simple as, and I'm going to beg, borrow, and steal from other school districts, right? A hike up Agamenticus as 6th graders as part of your 6th grade orientation with staff administrators, not because I think it's the greatest hike in the world, but because I think it's a great opportunity for kids to bond in a unique experience and form relationships. 7th grade, Mark, it's later on the agenda, does a thing at Fort Foster. I'd love to see that extended into a 2 or 3 day kind of overnight. Then 8th grade, either, I know talked to my history people there, it's a plug and play DC model, but they would actually prefer that at 7th grade because it aligns more with the content. In 8th grade, they'd rather see some type of 4 to 5 day environmental sciencey outside. And I was talking to a science teacher, so she was like, yes, let's go to a camp and have at it. That to me is like so critical as part of a middle school experience. I can't force people to go on trips. I can only prod and suggest and then come to you with my hand out begging for money. But I will tell you, as part of the new faces and new places reshuffle of middle school, we're having some, with Patty's support over the summer, really targeted team-based conversations around some of the logistics of things like weight work, policy, stuff like that, but the bigger picture ideas of what makes 7th grade in Newmarket unique. How do we tag into that? How do we build on that? Because one of the things that blew me away as our new principal last year was actually senior banquet, which every kid gets 90 seconds of a slideshow. And last year's graduating class, at least 80% of them, for their slides or two, highlighted and took pictures of themselves from their 8th grade overnight camping trip. So we are 5 years removed from that. This is your moment to be like, this is what I remember best about my Newmarket experience. I love you all, thank you. And the majority of these kids are referencing the number of campfire pictures, stupid hat making thing. Like, these kids absolutely loved it. And it just reinforced that idea of like, we gotta have some of these things. So whether it's DC or something else, I am fully on board and fully support it. It's just getting people to start to wrap their head around it. And to be honest, I got a lot of people at that middle school level who are very interested in those type of programmings.
Remember graduation 2 years ago, they all couldn't stop talking about that trip to the lake where the wind was high and they all nearly fell in. I think all of the middle school.
So the parents should talk to you.
Great, thank you again, Andy. Next up, we have budget process. So Todd and I brought a few things before the board to discuss on the budget process in an effort to get people thinking about how the budget is made and what we might want to set for a budget goal. Ideally, we'd like to get a budget goal to Todd by July 11th. That being said, that's 2 meetings that we have an opportunity to add more or add items to the agenda to inform ourselves into about the budget and help us come to a goal. Is there anything that anyone would like to see added as agenda items to discuss, to inform us?
By July, what did you say?
July 11th is hoping we can get a rough budget goal.
I guess personally, as a baseline, the best estimate, knowing it, somewhere Jan is feeling like chest pains right now, she doesn't know why, but the best estimate we can come up with of what a level funded budget looks like for next year. Just the things that we know. We know, how much the para contract goes up year over year. We know how much the, anything that we know in advance. That would, to me, would be a good baseline to start thinking about this from.
I completely agree. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I think we should switch the term from level funded to a level service.
Yeah.
Because that's actually what more.
That's what it is. It's not level funded.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Yeah, I know it's what we all mean.
I don't know what words I use, but level service.
No, we did last year the same word. And at some point I read something and I'm like, oh yeah, that's actually what we mean. So, just for clarity. That's a great idea. I can certainly add that. Is anything else? And people can email me, text me during the week or whatever for the next meeting. So we will be kind of, not forced, but Todd would really appreciate it if we could get some kind of draft budget goal.
I feel like it's impossible to get this year. Maybe not impossible, but it's impossible, but maybe too hard to ask for it. But and maybe premature. But I feel like if we're ever going to get any sort of how do we keep costs mildly contained, it is structural. It is how are we structuring education in this community? And what does that look like? Right now we have a pretty nothing conventional model, right? It's just what it is, right? And it's I think it's showing progress and student outcomes and all those, so it's nothing speaking against it. But how do we is there a potential look at something structural that we could do that could help contain costs while maintaining quality of educational experience. Not sacrificing quality for cost, but finding like what innovations are in the world and in the space that we could potentially adopt here. That's a big conversation. It's a huge one. It's not going to be finding its way into a budget goal. It's like too close to next year's budget to even have that conversation. But long term, I feel like that is the conversation we need to be having as a community.
Yeah, it would be interesting to hear what other schools and communities are doing. 'Cause I'm sure it's a challenge everywhere.
Great. All right. Thank you very much. Next, we'll head into school board goals. Bill and Dan were good enough to take our
Anything you see that has a bullet or a number, it looks structured, is filled.
Gotcha.
I took Dan's ideas and structured them into a flow.
So
If it's readable, it's because of that.
So Lonnie's not here, so I wouldn't feel comfortable adopting these, but, and to be honest with you, I have not read them. So is there anything you want to kind of, at a high level, go over, kind of give us the thoughts behind the structuring? I know we've talked about 2 or 3 different items before and trying to create some quantitative values for them. It looks like you've done that somewhat.
Well, should we talk when Lonnie's here, or maybe we
should,
can
but since
review
we
them
have
and
them.
then do it next meeting?
Yeah, that's actually a better idea, thank you.
Just,
Patty's here, can I ask a question now?
Sure.
I think that first goal, I think I would ask Patty to help us with. It's about increased student achievement, and it's we want a metric, right? Like we want to increase, but like I know that there's like all the different metrics used at all the different levels, like we talked last meeting. But, so maybe it's multiple metrics, but like would love to lean into like your advice as to like what is an ambitious but achievable goal, and like how that might look given the variety of assessments that we use.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned quarterly. I just know that when we benchmark students, it's fall, winter, spring. Yeah, 3 times a year for our local assessment that we give, and then New Hampshire SAS is yearly. So we're, those are the 2 big pieces of data that we do. But
I think we should align to what the assessment.
Because then I can share that with you, and then it's like the SAT, PSAT, that's once a year. But I love how you added, comparable school districts as well, and so that data will be released probably by July, hopefully. Yeah, I can share that.
I think it's a great idea. We'll definitely do it next meeting, Amy. Thank you. But that meeting, we probably will have to try to force ourselves to come to an agreement on this because we are kind of later in the process than we all planned on.
People are trying to don't want not an unofficial meeting or a meeting, but like if people have questions about it, if they want to write Dan or me, I think we can answer individual questions on it.
Yeah, I think so too.
can we send one to Lonnie? Can you get one to Lonnie?
As long as they don't write both of us.
Yeah. I mean, the starting point was exactly what we had in the materials for the last meeting, the things we already talked about. My thought process going into it is, when you line it up against the SMART framework for goals, it's how do we, it suffered a bit from lack of specificity, and it certainly suffered from lack of measurability. How do we know whether we're getting there or not? And this still is not perfect, I would say, in that regard. Some of these things are very difficult to measure, but at least, I feel like come February, I could probably hold this document up and look at what we've done and say, yes, we got there, or no, we didn't.
And I think some of them are hard to measure because we need to do the work to get to a place where we can see measurements, right? Like the budget one, which I literally didn't change a word in that, right? I shifted stuff around. I think we need to do the work around the framework to even get to like a goal of like burn rate or whatever the numbers we would want to see even look like. Without the framework, we can't even set a goal in a number.
Well, thank you both for your work on that. Appreciate it. So we previously talked about moving the school board meetings to the elementary school for the next year. There's a bit of an issue with that in that the Link Together uses the school, including the library, up until 5:30-ish, and it takes about 30 to 40 minutes to set up for us, which which I really appreciate everyone doing that. I didn't realize we were putting that much of a burden on people. But so if we were going to have meetings there, we'd likely have to do it in the cafeteria, and we wouldn't be able to have those until probably 6 o'clock. Yeah. So it seems a little late, and to me it also defeats the purpose by my thought of having them there was if we had them there while students would be picked up, parents would see it, maybe realize and occasionally drop in. But unless we can find a better location at the school, it's just not going to work. So just wanted to bring that up. Anyone has any thoughts on it or ideas or
So does
space?
Link Together use both the cafeteria and the gym?
I don't know. That's a good question. There's probably middle school.
Yeah, I don't think
practices
so. They
and
can
stuff,
use them
maybe.
simultaneously.
Yeah, there might be sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's a good thought.
yeah.
I mean, it seems to be working here.
Yeah, it does. So, all right. Myself.
All right. Decent landlords.
Yeah. All right, and then, so the NTA non-meeting we talked about having, and if we could schedule it tonight, that'd be great. Without Lonnie, I think it might be difficult. But ideally, we could meet in late May or early June, and the idea would just be to get together and kind of have a discussion about what we're thinking about, what we're thinking regarding the teacher's contract, and if we have any budget kind of areas that we're thinking about, constraints, so that the negotiators can go in with some idea of what the board as an entirety has. So that could be, as Patty said, before or after any meeting, or we could also have a separate meeting if we wanted to add something to the agenda or the schedule.
I would prefer to have it after a meeting, just to have it all together, rather than come a separate time.
So let's see what we have. So should we tentatively say June 6th after the regularly scheduled meeting? Sure. And I will talk to Lonnie. I feel like June 6th isn't great.
Yeah.
I don't know.
June 6th is going to be tight first.
Day
Senior awards night.
Oh, okay.
So not June
Day before graduation.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right. So we may have to talk about moving our June.
It's going to be,
We
Yeah.
just do it different.
it's going to be,
Let's not.
Busy.
it's going to be rocking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we may have to move our June 6th meeting. That's what I'm hearing.
Oh, yeah.
We don't meet on Tuesdays, that's a Monday.
No, it's a Thursday.
Oh, the
Well,
ones that are on
June 6th, June 7th is graduation, so.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we push that a week.
Be the 13th.
13.
You guys can meet, it's just going to be a lot of moving.
A lot of people.
We're planning on meeting, I know we're doing
Let's not,
retirees that night.
that feels very.
I'm just going to be, it's going to be, we're going to be moving.
Yeah, might not be good.
We might get people coming in to attend the meeting. We might-
Sense here.
Right? People might be like, let's forget the award, let's go do that. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah,
All right, we can,
I want to throw a wrench in your system, that's
No,
what.
but we should look at that since it's the June 6th meeting. That's a really good point.
yeah, it is a really good
Thank you
point.
for bringing that up.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would have to be, well,
But that would allow us also to have, if we move the meeting, allow us to have the conversation at whatever meeting we move it to.
yes.
So if we move it the following week, the 13th,
If we're torn, or not torn, if we want to stick to a Thursday, it's either the 30th or the 13th.
well, the 20th, I'm not going to be here.
30th?
No, I'm just saying, because our third meeting, our second meeting of the month in June is the 20th.
Yeah.
So could we possibly move it 13th and 27th? Or is that not good for everyone?
I don't have a conflict with that. We'd have to obviously check with Lonnie.
But I won't be here, I'll be out of town.
Yeah, I mean, we have a policy on the 27th.
We can always move
that around.
Okay, I can email Todd and Lonnie, or the whole board actually, since it's not a,
But if not, then I'm just going to miss, I'm going to miss the 20th.
okay. Yeah, I'll just email the entire board, and it's fine to reply all since it's just a scheduling discussion. All right. And propose having a non-meeting after the 13th meeting, or the meeting on the 13th. All right. Great, thank you. We'll head right into action items. I'd seek a motion to approve the May 2nd sealed non-public meeting and public meeting minutes.
So,
Motion by Bill, second by Dan. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Manifest, Bill?
I move to approve manifest in the total of $611,345.68.
So moved.
Second by Amy, motion by Phil. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Obviously, school goals, we're not going to vote on at this point. There's a couple out-of-state trips coming up. We have a drama club going to the Gunquit Playhouse in Gunquit, Maine to see the play Waitress on the 29th. And we also have grade 7 heading to Fort Foster in Kittery on June 10th. So let's seek a motion to approve those two out-of-state trips.
So second.
Motion by Dan, second by Phil. Gary Leonard, aye. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We do have a personnel matter. Unfortunately, our school psychologist has found a job that's closer to home, and she's taken it, so she will be moving on, as well as, do we have other nominations? Apparently?
Yes, there are 3. Did you
Can we
want
go
me to
over
speak
those?
to them?
Yeah.
Sure.
Are there 3 or 4? I have 4.
Oh. Right, okay, yep. So I'll go through like the certified staff. Very excited to welcome to our Newmarket school community, Monique Harrington. And Monique will be the new 6th grade English language arts teacher at our middle school. And she comes with a tremendous diverse background. So Andy, help me out if I'm missing anything, but I know she has experience teaching out of the country in New York City. And she just has a wealth of experience, and I know the committee is just thrilled to welcome her. So everyone's very excited. Tara Prue will be our new case manager for the middle school, and Tara comes to us from Raymond Middle School. So everyone's very excited to welcome Tara to the team. And then lastly, Leslie Robillard. She will be our new high school counselor. And Leslie comes to us, I want to say from Coral Gables, or Cape Coral, Florida. It's a very large school district. She has a great amount of experience with postgraduate plans and supporting students. So again, counseling team very excited to welcome her and her experience and what she can add to our school here.
And we also have Christopher Reeves.
And then, yeah, Chris Reeve is coming to us from Mount Prospect Mountain. I don't know why I'm backwards today. It must be because I'm coming from Baltimore. I don't know. Anyway, very excited to have Chris join our technology team in IT with Bob Higgins retiring. Chris accepted this position, and everyone is very excited to welcome him aboard.
Great, thank you. So I seek a motion to approve those nominations, or accept those nominations and accept the resignation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Amy, second by Phil.
Can I just say one thing about
Absolutely.
Jen Drew? I just have such great respect and admiration for Jen Drew, our school psychologist at the elementary school. And I know folks will feel her loss, but I just can't say enough that her move to go to Greenland, her community where she lives, and her husband works there as well in the schools. And so we're happy for her. We always like to support those that leave to further on in their career, but we are sad as well. And I just want to publicly say I just wish Jen all the best.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So we have a motion, a second on the floor. Are there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And next up is authorization for the superintendent to enter into contracts. This is something we do annually during the summer, since we have meetings less frequently, and it's a rushed hiring period to make sure we don't lose someone. So again, we'd like to do that. I'm proposing that we do it through May 17th, tomorrow through August 31st, which is
after one of our meetings in August, but I thought we could rescind it in August, that meeting if we wanted to, or continue through the 31st. So I'd seek a motion to authorize Superintendent Allen to enter into contracts on behalf of the SAU and waive sections, related sections of policies GCF and GDF, so that Todd may do that.
So moved.
Second. Amy can have this.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Amy. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. And lastly, the item we added to our agenda, I'd like to open, or excuse me, I'd like to seek authorization. I will get this right. I'd like to approve opening negotiations with the Newmarket Teachers Association for MOA, oh my God.
It's okay, both of us.
Yeah, MOA regarding changes to the sick day payment structure. I
So
knew I'd
moved.
get that.
Sick bank,
So
yeah.
knew it. All right. So motion by Amy, have a second?
Second.
Second by Phil. All right. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. With that, we have no need for a non-meeting. So I'd seek a motion to adjourn at 6:31. Actually, before we do that,
Uh-oh.
12 hours.
You just threw a wrench in it.
I need to open the floor for public comment, because I completely blew past that.
Yes, you did. I just thought of that, too.
No one told me.
I didn't check it off my
Sorry.
list.
And close the floor at 6:31. Sorry, I know that was a long time. I should have kept it open for a few more minutes.
I can
Seek a
check it
motion to
out now.
adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Bill, second by Dan. All in favor? Aye. With that, we adjourned at
Wonderful.
6:30. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now,
You're
do
a natural.
I bring this?